What is up, everybody? My name is James D. Fiore, and welcome to Blackballed. We have an awesome guest today. He is part of the Dean Blundell ecosystem here at the Dean Blundell Network. And he has a podcast called That Nerd Dad. I really like his branding, so I'm going to show, I don't know why, just simple, almost like elegant parenting. He's parenting pop culture and politics. He's pop culture and politics dad. And, we're going to see how that's going. Talk about problem children. Joe Williamson, a.k.a. Nerd Dad. What are you doing, buddy? What's going on?
Nothing. I love your intro music. Holy shit. I was just like, like I was feeling it. It's good stuff.
See, if you borrow dope-ass instrumentals from completely unknown people, YouTube won't take it down, and then you can forge relationships with those people that you've already stolen from. So that's really what I do. I literally do that. I'll make a whole track, and I'll be like, oh. So I'll email the guy. I'm like, hey, attached is a track that you made and inspired the lyrics that go on top of it. Can we work something out? Kind of thing. And usually they're like, yeah, we can, because I'm from Norway, and no one gets it here. So no one knows what I do. Dude,
yeah,
man. I've been watching you for a year now or so, personally, and watching, and I wanted to make sure this interview is like not serious, but I didn't want to like make it go off the rails or anything like that. So, we're watching you do this podcast. You're like a parenting guy. You're so likable. So I guess my first question is, why the fuck are you making it so hard for the rest of us dads?
I have my wife to thank. She tells me what to do, and I listen.
Right away, you throw your wife under the bus.
No, well,
my man.
I'm saying she makes me a better parent. Listening to her and her guidance has helped me. So,
is she in the room?
No, she's not. She's got a gun to my head, but it's like a scope thing. She's not actually in the room though.
She's got a gun to my head, but it's really just a lawyer.
It's fine. Those divorce papers are half signed, just waiting for me.
Yeah, exactly. The intro music, by the way, was because of an homage to our favorite music. So the last time when I was on your podcast, I kind of derailed everything and just talked about hip hop for like 27 out of the 30 minutes. And I wanted you to have the same opportunity. No, I want to know what it was like to grow up in Scarborough and like country music, because I grew up in Whitby. And Scarborough people, by the way, in case you forget what they look like, in the 90s, they looked like this.
Yeah, you're the guy who jumped me.
Yeah, that's exactly right. But he also found out, that guy that jumped you, what kind of music you listen to. But for real, though, like, were you all alone?
In terms of my like of country music, yeah, I'm still all alone. None of my friends really listen to country music. Growing up in Scarborough, though, in general, I'm not joking when I say I was jumped twice, 2 different times, 2 separate occasions. Once they threatened to pull a gun on me, and once they just beat the piss out of me. And it was because I was a tiny kid. I was up until grade 12, I was 5'2", 100 pounds soaking wet. So I was easy target, and they targeted me.
You grew like 8 inches like after you were 17 years old.
Yeah, and I put on. Now I'm 230 pounds, right? Like I put on a shit ton of weight, so now I'm a little cube. But back then I was an easy target. So yeah.
People always talk about like if you could go and beat the shit out of your bully. But I'm like, that's not really fair. You should be allowed to beat the shit out of his kids, shouldn't you? Nerd dad,
kids and give his kids a wedgie.
Yeah, that's right. Well, that is the ultimate vengeance. That is like the coldest dish of revenge ever.
Yeah.
You just start bullying your bully's kid. I don't know. There's something poetic about it. That kid probably doesn't stand a chance anyways, so you might as well use him as a prop.
Yeah, or train my kid to become a fighter and then pick his kid. Like it'd become like a tale of vengeance kind of thing.
What is it about parenting that can summon someone to create a whole podcast built around? I mean, I think I understand the answer. I just want to know from your personal perspective, though, because parenting is so much of a day-to-day fluidity that I feel like we all just make it up as we go along. And anytime I've tried a system, that's been recommended by experts. It's like, I don't know, these experts must be working on kids that are like nice.
Yeah, like good kids. No,
Yeah, like good.
why I was drawn to the idea of talking about parenting is just that it's a universal topic, but it's also incredibly like individual. So, um, when I had Brittlestar on my show, I talked to him about the idea of parenting when he was a social media phenomenon and having going viral when your kids are in middle school. What was that like? Um, when I had Amber Mack on, we talked about the idea of having technology be a part of your life without dominating your life. And when I talked to you, we talked the idea about someone who uses drugs um, and has two kids at home, and it's just like every parent has a story.
Oh, you fucking.
What?
If you're just tuning in, we're joined by Joe Williamson, aka That Nerd Dad, who has just compared my drug use in the house where children are present to other good parenting skills that we all just have to navigate.
No, shut up. You know what I mean? Because it's all about like your individual perspective. I've talked to parents who have gone through messy divorces, and we talk about how they talk to their kids about that. And it's not all good. It's like everyone has their story to tell, and how do you balance yourself with your parenting style? So I think it's a limitless well, because when you're listening to another parent talk, and typically in these podcast settings, they're a little more candid, they're a little more open than if you were just shooting the shit around the water cooler. Um, you're going to pick up on something you might be able to relate to and go, shit, that's what I'm going through too. And not something you would necessarily normally hear at work or at the soccer field when parents are just kind of shooting the shit.
Yeah, no, that's totally fair. And I was a stay-at-home dad for a year when my son was between 1 and 2. And my wife had a really good job. She's like a big time researcher person, and we were living in Toronto. And so I was a writer, and surprisingly, I didn't have a very good job. I just, I don't know. So I was working basically at a restaurant, and so I would like be single dad guy, and I actually like got made fun of by like men who were like in their 60s. Hey, Mr. Mom, like really, like that kind of stuff, because they'd see me every day, and I'd be like, hey, fuckface, like you know what I mean? Like I didn't understand what the mockery was for. I thought we had turned the page and all that kind of shit.
No, we haven't turned the page.
Yeah, and I got to tell you, I liked it a lot. I like being a stay-at-home dad.
I couldn't do it. I honestly couldn't do it. Like I don't have the demeanor or temperament to deal with kids all day long. I think for like a minute in my career, in my life, I was thinking maybe become a teacher, because that's like everyone's fallback plan. Oh, I'll become a teacher. And then
I even thought about it a couple times. Yeah,
it's just like it feels like something you could do.
I think that a lot of kids, apparently, I'm told that a lot of kids that are class clowns and they're kind of bad like that in school often grow up to be teachers.
I believe it,
but yeah.
Because you have an audience. Right? You have an audience. Hopefully you're imparting some wisdom. And if you're a class clown like I was, and it kind of fucks with your head a little bit in terms of you're like, oh, I'm going to prove to them that I'm not just an idiot.
Yeah.
And I will teach others. That'll.
Yeah, no, that's funny that you say that, because the mind of a class clown is pretty. It's kind of like the mind of a comic. Like you got to read the room. You got to see, like, sometimes I would see, like, who needs cheering up. Sometimes I would look at the guy that, I didn't like that much, and see like anything I could mock him for, and then, or if the teacher was in a bad mood, and you got to pick your spots. Comics are like that. Comics, like, will read the room. They don't like it when another class clown or another comedian, like, steps on their momentum, all that stuff.
Oh, when I used to do stand-up, like, open mics and shit like that, if the guy ahead of you killed, you were screwed. You're like, oh, well, I can't follow that. I'm dead in the water. You might. Some people will say, "Oh, I'm going to carry that momentum forward," but far too many are like, "Well, I can't top that. I'm not good enough yet to top that."
Yeah, there's a Seinfeld episode where that annoying Ovaltine guy. What's with Ovaltine? Shouldn't they call it Roundtine?
I think it was Banyan.
Like
Banyan?
Yeah, Banyan, I think. And there was an episode where he got on and he's like, "See that, Jerry? I killed it, Jerry." And he leaves and he's like, of course he killed it. I set it up for him because I killed it. They were happy to applaud anytime anyone went on after me or whatever. But then I've heard other comics say the opposite, where they'll go on tour and they'll bring a guy to open for them that ain't really all that funny. Like, I mean, he's funny, but he's not like, woo, funny.
Yeah. No, it's jealousy. It's jealousy. For me, like my sense of humor, my class clowndom became a defense mechanism, right? Like, as I said, being bullied and picked on and shit like that. It was just like, hey, how can I make it so that guy doesn't want to hurt me? I know, I'll make him laugh. You don't want to hurt the guy who makes you laugh. That's stupid. So,
yeah, that's true. You want to, but you would want to hurt the guy you just made laugh. So for you, it's confusing.
Oh, of course, because if I could, I'd push him down the stairs. But
there's a weird Stockholm syndrome that happens with bullies and the people they bully, because the people they bully end up wanting to sort of impress them sometimes, so they won't get picked on, but also they seek their approval, right? And that's where bullying really impacts kids, I think, because like you're seeking the approval, little Johnny, of Nelson, who's like 3 years older than you and just a horrible kid,
But you want to sit at the cool kids table. You want to sit at the cool kids table, and they're the cool kid, so that's what you want to do.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not dreading, but I'm still sort of working out the script. Or maybe I should say I'm already working out the script of what I'm going to talk to my kids about when they get to high school and how I'm going to like navigate that. Because like, I don't want to seem like the cool uncle. Okay. You know what I mean? When I'm talking, the cool uncle always has liberties where they don't have to follow it up with like the after school special finality of don't do drugs. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to be sitting there like with mountains of weed and shrooms behind me going, now kids, talk to daddy. You guys don't want to be doing any of these drugs. I mean, yes, I have pounds and pounds of it, but they're just decorative pieces. They've been there your whole lives.
You shit on me just a minute ago for bringing that exact topic up.
I know. Well, you opened the door. Now I got to use it.
I gave it to you. But high school is going to be changed by then. I mean, you and I didn't go through it where we were bullied online. All my shit was face to face.
I like being bullied online. It's just a different context now. Oh, sorry. I thought we were still. It's good.
I can't imagine, like, I got mental issues to begin with, right? My therapist and I have a good chat.
Well, you came to the right place, Joe.
Yeah, exactly. My therapist and I have a good chat every few weeks. I can't imagine being a teenager having to handle that kind of shit. Sometimes the things I write for Dean Blundell will say, I'll get a comment like, oh, go kill yourself. And you're like, cool, I'm an adult. I'm going to go cry. I can't imagine being 13 years old and someone I like or someone I admire telling me to go kill myself because of some snarky comment. It would destroy me.
Yeah. I remember the stinging of anxiety that I'd get when someone would hand me a note,
Oh, God.
And just that moment from like accepting the note to opening it and all the shit that's going through your head. Someone challenged me to a fight. Maybe it's a girl and she likes me. Maybe it's one of those things where you have the phone number and she wants you to fill in the spaces and nope, that your fucking underwear is showing and you have a hole in your jogging pants crotch. So, like this is the kid that had no internet was still riddled with anxiety because of like all the stuff that happens in kid culture. And then you add the internet to that. Like I'm just, yeah, go ahead.
I want to turn the interview on you now because I'm curious. I'm going to turn this into my show.
Sure. Go ahead. Hold on. I don't know. See, it would be good. Chris, if you're listening, I would love to flip the screen now, but I don't know how. So
the anxiety that you have suffered with, is that something that you see in your kids? Could you see it? Are you like, that one I'm going to have to keep an eye on, or that one I need to get into therapy?
I'm not sure because I didn't even know what anxiety was until like, I don't know, maybe even like after high school. Maybe I was like 19, 20 when I realized what it was. Which is funny because I used to write poetry for my teachers and it'd be like all about the butterflies in my stomach. They have fangs and they're trying to get out. And their teachers were probably just like, very creative, James. I like the imagery. Like, but no one was ever like, are you going through any anxiety? Like no one ever said that to me. Just floating around fucking for like 6 years in high school. Yeah, 6 years. And yeah, I don't know. It's a weird thing to like even like try to broach because sometimes kids are shy and it's not about anxiety. They're just shy. So I think my daughter is shy right now. And I think my son could probably use a little bit of anxiety.
Okay,
in touch.
a little too brave.
He is like, I kind of love it because I know it comes from my blood, right? Because like, but he's just so. I'll fucking say anything, and I will tell you jokes forever. And hey, guitar teacher, how's it going? Da 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 da. Like, and he kind of just won't shut the fuck up. But he's like interesting. He has interesting shit to say, except when he doesn't. And when he doesn't, he'll literally like put a bunch of stuff like blocks or, he'll make something, and say it's made out of like 19 pieces. He'll come up and he'll be like, "Daddy, can I show you how I made that thing over there?" And I'll be like, "Sure." He's like, "It's got 19 pieces. So I'm going to take it apart and then I'm going to explain each piece as I place it." Like that. It's like 45 minutes. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, "Son, you got to speed this up. You got to trim the fat." So now he knows what trim the fat means.
You're trying to like teach him how to trim it down, make it a presentable project.
Digestible. I had to teach him that word too. I'm like, we have to be able to digest your content. And if we're going to do that, you got to shrink it down because attention spans are not good. He's like, what's an attention span?
How old is your son?
7.
All right, so you're getting him a YouTube channel, it sounds like. Sounds like you're prepping him for his life as a content creator.
Yeah. There's a whole bunch of stuff that I wish I knew when I was his age. And I am taking as much of that as I can, and I'm trying to give it to him. For example, his favorite kid show, Wildcrats. Used to be his favorite kid show anyways. Just like two guys that turn into cartoons and they have creature powers and stuff.
I have heard of it, yes.
And so I started talking to him. I'm like, "You like this show?" He's like, "Yeah, what do you like about the show?" This and that. So I found a behind the scenes of how they make an episode of Wildcrats. So that he understands that he's watching this, but that there's a whole world going on around him of like technicians and producers and writers and camera people and light people and this and that. So that his mind will think about that. Because, I didn't think about that shit, honestly, until I was like 22. I want to give him a head start, I think is what I'm saying.
Sounds like you want to be a good dad.
You always know just yeah.
But it is.
I do. I really do.
You're trying to expose them to shit and give them a head start because we're all trying to do better than our parents.
Yeah. I mean, I can't say it better than that. Unfortunately, I do have this thing where it's like, for me, being a good dad is just making sure I spend just enough time with them, but not too much where I rub my flaws onto them.
I am not Dr. Phil, but I would talk to my therapist about that comment. I used to write poetry for my teachers. I'd probably explore that one a little bit further as well.
No. I used to write poetry like for English class, and my teacher must have read it and not deciphered the code of vampire.
I need help.
Yeah.
This is a cry for help. Here you go.
And James, well done. I gave you an A because extra creative points for writing the whole thing in blood. Well done, sir. It's like, thanks. What about help? Okay, we'll see you tomorrow. Yeah.
Guidance counselors down the hall. They can't help either.
Yeah. Was your school rough? Was your high school rough?
It was for some. I don't know. I always remember the idea. Like I used to hear it, but I never actually saw it. My high school, kind of minor stuff. And again, I think this was just me trying to lay low. But I always found that the people who were kind of younger but trying to be popular were the ones who got it the worst. I wasn't trying to be popular. I was trying to survive. I was on the. I found my crew, my group of nerds, in the business club, and I settled in there. That is a
good place to go nerd hunting. I must say, you did a fantastic job scouting locations.
I remember the tagline for the promo on the school PA announcer. It was like, "Join the business club. 10,000 students worldwide can't be wrong." And I was like, 10,000 students can't be wrong. I will attend that. And I got there and I was like looking around. I'm like, I do not stand out too much in this group. I think I can fit right in here. And that became my niche. I became the business club guy because I was a little more outgoing. I was a little more comedic than some of the other business nerds. And the business teacher took a shine to me. And that became my little home in high school where I could hide out. So that was me.
That must have been awesome. Like you were the inventor of the safe space in a way.
I was. It was like, okay, we need someone to do a presentation. Okay, Joe,
please send all your hate mail to Joe Williamson.
I don't
for
care.
creating the safe space. No, I'm just kidding. No, that's actually what safe spaces are meant for, is stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to know, like, the relationship that you're in now. You've been in basically for your entire adult life, right?
Yeah. Grade 11, grade 12, something like that. Yeah.
Same with Lachlan.
Okay.
So is that the secret? Like, you find them, you hold on, you hope that they like you,
And
and
you
you
don't give them
just
any other options.
live somewhat content ever after, except for a bunch of parts. Is that is that the idea?
I don't. It's not the secret. I mean, like I got lucky, and I think I also had my parents' example. My parents grew up across the street from each other, so like that was
Interesting.
the example that I had in my house. My household was you find someone young, and happily ever after
Get
follows,
get
right?
him,
Uh,
get him
and
young, Joe.
yeah,
Get him young. Yeah.
in grade 11, I think it was grade 11, may have been grade 12. And she won't be mad if she hears this because she won't remember either. Uh, we both ended up having a spare period together, and that was the thing. It was just like, and we didn't know anyone else better. Do you know what I mean? It was like our options to
You're
hang out.
settling.
Yeah, we were kind of like, okay, I know them a little bit, and we started to
Mm.
hang out with each other, and that was kind of it. We got to know each other better over that spare period, and it kind of went from there. It hasn't been all ups and downs. It hasn't been all ups. It's been ups and downs, but I mean, so far so good. Some 20 years later.
Yeah. I admire it. I joke a lot, way too much. I'm
That doesn't
masking my
sound like
pain with
you.
jokes. Yeah. No, I joke too much. But
Okay.
I think there's something about, you know, I don't know what it is, like maturing with someone, so they knew you kind of like on both sides. They knew you kind of as a older child, I guess, for lack of better words, and now they know you as an adult. Um, I know that this is going to sound ridiculous, but like the fact your frontal cortexes weren't developed when you met, and then got developed, and then you're like 24, 25 or something, and you stayed together, even though all of the neurological and physiological and hormonal changes that you got. I don't know what I find so remarkable about that. Maybe it's because
Well,
I'm trying not to look at it through my lens of debauchery and like, how do you have fun? Like, where do you sow these oats? Anyways, like, how does that
it,
work? You know,
it
but
wasn't
some people shouldn't, I guess.
like she saw me go through my worst version of depression and anxiety when I was like looking back on those years. I'm like, I wasn't fun. Like, why would you stay with me during those moments? Because, like, yeah, I was fine, but I don't think it was fun for her. But she stuck with it, and I went out and I got the help I needed, and I talked to the right people, and I got the right medication, and I got my head on straight. And the version of me that I am today would kick the 10-year ago version of my ass if he had the chance, because he would have told him to smarten up sooner so you can enjoy your life better. Um, but
That's
even
good
now,
growth.
yeah, well, I mean, even now though, we talk about like the world's a hot place, right? In terms of, every topic gets divided into extreme left, extreme right. Um,
Yep.
and and you see, and especially in the last 2 years, you've seen couples break up because one person starts to go a little squirrely, one person starts to break off. Um, we never really broke off in terms of our development. We both kind of kept leaning the same direction for political, for how we spend money, for religious. When I first met her brother was pretty religious, and even though she wasn't that religious, she had probably a lean that direction. And I
Jesus
was
fear. I call that Jesus fear.
and I was far the other direction. I was already
Yeah.
gone in terms of giving up
Mm.
on the whole thing. And she kind of steered with me that direction. But when it came to being conservative with money, I kind of steered more her direction because I was just spending money and she was a little more conservative with her money. So we've kind of been able to steer it around together. And that's
Mhm.
that's been the key for us.
Well, listen, I grew up. All of my friends came from homes that were divorced or just had a shitty father. You know what I mean? Like,
Yep.
it feels like yeah, it was just that kind of upbringing. So people staying together, which I actually like. There's something I value about that above all else when it comes to kids. like when it comes to their development. You can look at the stats. It's not really talking about causation because every individual couple is going to be a little bit different about circumstances and all that. But just from a percentage standpoint, you grow up with a household with two parents versus splitting your time. It's like you're 3 times more likely to be unemployed chronically when you're older. You're 3 times more likely to be depressed when you're older, this, that, and the other thing. Like, it's just, I think that parents should be like, okay, if we're not going to be together, then we're not going to be together. But let's stay here, not fight in front of the kids, which is the most important thing. Hopefully they're capable of it, and give these kids a shot of realizing their full potential.
Well, I think that's where co-parenting comes in. When I talk to people who are unhappily married and they're saying I'm only staying together for the kid, the kid is still turning out the same way as if the parents were separated, because they feel it, right? The kid, they're not dumb. Even though the argument isn't necessarily happening in front of them, they know that dad isn't as attentive as he used to be, or mom isn't as cuddly, as an affectionate as they used to be. And I think they feel that. So
sometimes they don't know half of the heinous shit the mom does.
For sure they don't. For sure. And I'm probably better
they
off
have
knowing
such good branding.
I'm better off not knowing the details of my parents' marriage, and my kids would be better off not knowing the details of mine.
I would be better off not knowing the details of my own marriage. I know exactly.
Like, if I can get a sub for mine, that'd be great. But that's what it boils down to, man. It's and when I talk on my show and I talk to people who have gone through divorce, the thing I talk about them with is, when did you decide that kind of it was better for you because you knew you could be a better parent if you just made the clean break? Because I think that's what they're trying to do for the couples that go through divorce, is they reach a point where they say, I'm not a great parent and I won't be unless I move on from this.
Yeah. That's a very, very huge point. It's like, so you don't fall down those like pitfalls of trying to get over somebody. You can distract yourself from all that shit with being a good dad or a mom. Yeah, that's
and look, I'm painting the most optimistic version of this as humanly possible.
You are,
and not just I need to get away from this person for me and fuck these kids. Like, that happens too. But in a perfect world, in an ideal situation, if a marriage, if a relationship needs to end, it's with the children in mind, and that's that's a good point. As someone who has had tumultuous relationships, to say the least, it does add a veneer of positive of a positivity of how you can traverse the waters of the separation, which should be happening any day. All right. Listen, I know that you have to run. I wanted to just show you this because do you remember this even? Oh yeah, this was our first appearance together.
I must be getting old because I don't remember this. All I know is that podcasts, even from like a year ago, now look like they're from the 70s somehow, even though they were in a podcast.
I was recording off of my cell phone. I was in a different office. You, I think, were out to lunch.
Was I drunk or on shrooms or something?
Probably. And Dwayne,
no, I wasn't drunk because it was 2020.
And Dwayne was yelling a lot. And as you can tell my demeanor, I kind of fell by the wayside there.
I remember now. He was like the Rain Man of the Buffalo Bills or something. And he
still is. Great podcast if you're into that. I'm not really a big hockey guy.
But what about the punting percentage in second quarter situations? I have a whole list of things I could read. Sorry, I shouldn't have done. But that's what I remember.
It was a weird combination, the three of us, and being my first appearance on the Dean Blundell show, could have gone better for me. But did
I insult you? Because if I didn't, then I wasn't on my game that day.
Oh, then I wasn't. No. It wasn't an insulting thing. It was just like, I do not have the fortitude to go toe to toe with these three individuals. I'm not sure I could today.
Oh, you bastard. You waited till 1 minute left in the show so I couldn't roast you for the next 10 minutes.
For saying
that
fortitude?
Whole self-deprecation shit that I hate.
I know. Look,
Joe is one of those people that loves to start out sentences like, I'm a babe in the woods, really, when it comes to this stuff, and you're just completely outmatched intellectually. Blah, blah. Stop.
I'm not. I'm not mad. You guys would out yell me. That was that.
Oh.
You guys would out yell me.
Well, then carry on, then, sir.
Yeah.
All right, buddy.
Yeah, man. Anyways, I've avoided the self-deprecating stuff for your benefit, but yeah,
mostly for yours, though.
What?
Mostly for yours.
For mine? Nah.
People watch you and they don't want to hear you say that because they already watch you. Now you're insulting them by making them feel like they're watching a guy who's got to tell everyone that he's not smart or something, whatever it is. Don't do that. You're fucking awesome, is what I'm saying. If I was a gay man, I would probably make out with you if you shaved your beard.
It's the bald head, bald cap show.
Imagine rubbing our heads together. That would be kind of erotic, wouldn't it?
OnlyFans, here we come.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, the best. OnlyFans, welcome Nerd Dad. That'd be a hard cross-promotional thing to pull off.
Not impossible, though. I'm sure there's a market.
That Nerd Dad, Joe Williamson, thanks for joining us here on Blackballed, Joe. Appreciate it.
Oh, a fancy show. I know. I appreciate it. Thanks, buddy.
No, we're not fancy. I appreciate it, buddy. We'll see you soon. Okay. That Nerd Dad. And we actually paid such an homage to Joe today that it's going to be a half-hour show. Joe is only available for half an hour, but I thought it was fitting just to keep it that way anyways. I might start going the shorter show route. Contact me if you think that's a good way to go, because some people like it when I just sit there and blab. I don't know why. I'm not one of them, though. And yet I can do it for hours and hours. Thanks to Joe Williamson. We have Fat Al on Thursday from God Made Me Funky. That'll be fun. And tomorrow, mystery guest. All right, guys. We'll see you soon.